Hello and welcome to CACI and StayinFront's webinar, Transforming Global Field Sales Teams. Today we're going to guide you through the top 4 challenges we hear about most often when working with global consumer packaged goods companies similar to yours.
And you'll also discover the technologies being used to overcome these challenges and the significant benefits that have been realized.
My name is Lee Hawkes. I'm a senior consultant at CACI and have been specialising in field force optimisation for the last 9 years. My role involves helping global companies improve field force efficiency and deliver their route to market strategy through best of breed technology.
My name is David George. I'm head of sales for EMEA at StayinFront and have been a principal working in commercial effectiveness for consumer goods and life science companies for the last 20 years. I have worked on initiatives to improve sales performance through technology, training, and process improvement.
CACI are global market leaders in field force optimization. StayinFront are global market leaders in cloud-based field execution software. And together we're helping companies transform their global field sales teams through the delivery of complementary systems, ensuring that they're both efficient and effective.
So together, we're helping organizations understand how many heads they need to exceed targets through sophisticated resource planning, create optimal drive time efficient territories and routes, do more, know more, and sell more in-store through class-leading field execution software. So, what are the 4 key challenges Lee and I hear most often? They are: how can I achieve the right headcount and ensure the field sales team is the right size and fully utilized? How can I ensure territories are drive time efficient and my reps are in the right place? How can I ensure that my reps are visiting the stores at the right time in an efficient sequence? And finally, how can I provide my reps with the right tools and information when they get to store and ensure the correct actions are taken to maximize effectiveness?
So our first challenge is, how can you achieve the right headcount to ensure that your field sales teams are the right size and fully utilised? Understanding what can be achieved by a field rep or by a team is critical to gaining efficiency in the field. In my experience, we find that sales directors generally don't want to reduce headcount. In today's hyper-competitive environment, it's all about doing more with the existing field sales team. So why is drive time so important when assessing headcount? Well, field personnel spend most of the day doing 2 things: calling and driving. And given that driving accounts for as much as 42% of a salesperson's day, it's absolutely crucial that we know how much driving our field team need to do if they are going to be efficient. When assessing headcount, planners probably know the call locations, in-call time and frequency of call, and they'll know how long the call cycle is and the working hours of their staff. But what they won't know is how long they spend driving between calls, which is where CACI comes in. In this example of the Netherlands, you can see that the larger red dots represent calls which are more remote and have more driving associated with getting to them. The reality is that driving time is different for every customer depending on the road network and customer density, and even the country we're working in. So it would be incorrect to estimate or assume the same drive time between calls, as this would result in the wrong headcount. Most planners have probably conducted a headcount analysis and attempted to incorporate driving time at some point. Inevitably, they would have had to estimate driving time to do this, which will be incorrect one way or another. And here you can see the impact estimating drive time has on headcount. So in this example, you can see that if we use an accurate assessment of drive time, we would need to employ 32 heads. But if we underestimate drive time, you won't have enough heads to service your calls or deliver your contact strategy. Customer service levels will be lower and your business will be missing sales opportunities. Conversely, if we overestimate drive time, we'll employ too many heads. And during the 25 years CACI have been conducting resource planning, we see that the vast majority of companies we deal with have around 10% more headcount than they actually need because they are inefficient. So challenge number 2, how do we ensure that our reps are in the right place and the territory structure is fit for purpose and delivers more calls with less resource? You must ensure that your field sales personnel are located in the right place for the territories you're going to give them. Yes, it's partly about where the rep lives, but it's equally about the size, shape, and location of the towns within their territory. So here you can see a territory map for a small team in the UK. However, we see the same problems across the globe, and they apply for any size of field sales team. The majority of companies who approach CACI have already created their territory structures using manual methods and simple postcode allocations. Some will simply use laminated maps on walls, some will use Excel, or may even have access to some form of manual mapping software already. The problem is that these tools only allow you to allocate postcodes in a way that is subjective, time-consuming, and doesn't utilise the road network, resulting in inefficiency. A territory structure that has been created manually with no drive time factored in will probably have reps living in the wrong location, resulting in more driving and less calls, 25% more driving than is necessary. We all know that driving is unproductive and expensive. And they'll have imbalanced territories. Some reps will have too much work and some won't have enough. So let's discuss the impact of imbalanced territories in more detail on the next slide. Many CPG companies we work with will tell us that they already have balanced territories because they've given their team an equal number of accounts to share or calls to visit. The reality is that once an accurate assessment of driving time has been factored in and the workload has been assessed, they will often have significantly imbalanced territories. If a territory is overworked, reps won't have enough time to get to the calls, will miss sales opportunities and won't deliver your contact strategy. If a territory is underworked, reps could be making more calls than selling more. Only 38% of consumer goods companies have workload balances less than plus or minus 15%, which can actually cost a company like yours as much as 2 to 7% in lost sales. Also, recent European court judgments have highlighted the importance of drive time to the first call and from the last call, so assessing drive time is even more important. So what's the impact of excessive driving on calling? We've already mentioned that driving accounts for 42% of a field salesperson's day. The reality is that 25% more drive time will result in 10% less calls. So rather than 10 calls per day, reps will be only able to visit 9. Also, global CPG companies are increasingly being challenged to be greener. If you read their annual reports, they all have a section covering sustainability, and most have signed up to the recent climate change goals. So in addition to reducing driving time, we'll be greener too, and will reduce CO2 emissions. So let's move on to challenge number 3. How can we ensure that your field team are visiting the calls at the right time? So how difficult can manual route planning really be? Now, this is one of the most common questions I'm asked. Route planning is a highly complicated task, which often rests with the field sales team to manage. I'll often hear planners tell me that the salespeople know how to get around their patch their best, but achieving an efficient sequence of calls is challenging. Expecting field-based people to create efficient routes is unrealistic. Just to demonstrate that point, In this example here, we have 10 retailers to visit in one day. So how difficult can it be to sort out a route for a rep and put them in the right order? How many possible route sequences do you think there could be? So suppose you have one store, let's say it's Walmart. There's only one way you can put that in order. If you have two stores, Walmart and Safeway, you can arrange them in two different ways. You can go to Walmart, then Safeway, or Safeway, then Walmart. With 3 stores, there are 6 different ways they can be sequenced. Now, in this example, there are actually over 3.6 million possible route sequences just for 10 calls on one day. Now, that's a big number. Of course, we are looking at the routing problem in a very analytical way, but it demonstrates the point that there are millions and millions of potential permutations of call sequences. How can the salesperson get anywhere near the optimal answer? Well, they can't. And there are also so many additional factors that a rep needs to take into account when planning their routes. They include multiple visits. Some stores will need to be called on more frequently than others. Drive times. As we mentioned earlier, if we're trying to meet work time legislation, you need to be careful not to overestimate or underestimate how far a person can drive on different roads. Overnight stops. Some reps cover territories that are so large that they routinely need to stay overnight. Visit restrictions. These can arise when some of the stores need a visit on a specific day or at a specific time. Call locations. Seems obvious, but we also have to include very rural areas where average calls per day are much lower than in urban areas. And we also have to factor in other meetings and block out time in the diary for any other events that the rep has to factor in. So what are the implications of manual route planning? Whilst manual route planning is widely practiced, it is far from efficient. Reps generally don't want to have to do it, and you don't really want them to do it. The reality is that days spent routing each cycle, your reps could be selling. Mileage bills and CO2 will be significantly higher. There will be a discrepancy between corporate and personal goals. And call rates and revenues will be lower than possible.
So finally, on to challenge number 4. Now your reps are getting to the right store in the right way, meaning efficiently. How do you ensure that the field sales team perform the right activities in that store? Well, the consequences of poor execution are significant, but not always at front of mind, so you need to prioritize. Retailers currently lose an estimated $93 billion annually when customers are unable to find the products they're seeking. Yet staggeringly, 1 out of every 13 items that a consumer plans to buy will be out of stock. According to the International Journal of Logistics, only 10 to 30% of out of stock stems from problems with the upstream supply chain. The vast majority, that's 70 to 90%, result from in-store operations on the part of the retailer. Late activation or installations of promotions and displays is another area of major lost opportunity. According to Popeye, only 41% of stores had their secondary displays properly executed. So how confident are you that your field teams are fixing these problems? Do they consistently focus on these and other productive tasks, or just routinely go through the huge list of things they have to do, completing what they can? Reps have to spend a lot of time on administration and non-revenue generating tasks when in a usually busy store. We find we can save companies up to about 40% of the reps' admin during our projects. They have a combination of different applications to do a task, so there's a lot of switching backwards and forwards. They use laptops or older software that's just too slow. There's easily 15 minutes lost per call. Often, sales processes are not designed with a tool in mind, so that when the rep goes into a store, the application doesn't cover all of the things they should be doing in the right order. They may have to write things down first and then go away to re-enter data. I actually saw that last week on a rep ride. So critical things are easily missed, even for experienced reps. This is much worse if you have a high turnover. We also see reps focusing their time on the wrong areas if specific outcomes aren't being measured. What I can't measure, I can't control. What I can't control, I can't target. What I can't target, I can't improve. Lastly, we find with sales teams using dated software or even paper that reps rely on good old intuition instead of fact-based arguments to help with selling. If promotion and sales data is readily available in a usable format to show a store manager facts and outcomes, that is a powerful way to grow your business. For example, showing store-specific uplift that will result from opting into a new promotion. So, how have similar companies to yourselves overcome these challenges? They've done so by investing in projects and technology to help them with resource planning, territory optimization, route optimization, and mobile retail execution, ensuring they have the right headcount in the right place at the right time with the right tools, driving the right actions.
So how are CACI and StayinFront transforming global field sales teams?
CACI and StayinFront offer tools to help deploy your field reps optimally, creating efficient teams that are more effective in store. Resource planning and territory optimization are delivered using CACI's tool, Insight Fieldforce. Insight Fieldforce will help your business plan and optimize the deployment of your field personnel to ensure you get the right headcount and that they're in the right place. Route optimization is delivered using CACI's CallSmart tool, which improves field productivity and delivers optimized routing. Effective retail execution is delivered using StayinFront's TouchCG and EdgeCG applications, which help you schedule and manage and measure in-store field execution. All of this will help your business close the loop and deliver efficient and effective field sales teams. So let's show you a few screenshots of each application to demonstrate the process.
The CACI's Insight Fieldforce tool provides an accurate assessment of driving time between calls, which ensures that your field team is the right size and fully utilised. You can determine the correct number of field sales personnel required to achieve your contact strategy and see the utilisation of the team immediately. You can visualise the drive time between calls and the number of visits to remote calls on the map. And you can model different frequencies and durations of visits to your customers on an individual or group level basis to see the impact and make informed business decisions. Insight Fieldforce will also create balanced, drive time efficient territories and will help you identify ideal base locations for recruitment purposes. Here you can see that Insight Fieldforce has automatically created your optimized territories. As I mentioned before, it's important to consider drive time at the beginning and end of the day, and the new version of CACI software will take this into account. You'll be able to model ideal locations for recruitment, reassign customers to different territories, and sum up any important information to territory level. And use interactive tools to allow you to fine-tune results and make your own specific changes by moving work between territories. And then CACI's CallSmart application will automatically create optimal day-by-day routes. You can view the customers belonging to each salesperson, map daily call sequences, plan across any length of the call cycle period, visualize routes through a diary format, view the call schedule optimized by CallSmart, and then load CACI's optimized schedules to StayinFront to enable the field sales rep to hit the ground running with a sequence of stores to visit for that day, week, and for the specified call cycle. Whether you're a CACI client or a StayinFront client, by widening your toolkit to include the other, you really can combine efficiency with effectiveness.
StayinFront Consumer Goods is a modular, role-based solution that delivers a complete range of retail execution functionality, deployed rapidly through the cloud and on demand. It helps you do more, know more, and sell more. StayinFront Consumer Goods can be deployed as any combination of StayinFront Touch CG for mobile and Edge CG for PC, and can run on Apple, Android, or Windows tablets or smartphones. Users can deploy StayinFront's Edge CG to manage promotions, key account relationships, distribute field work related to deals and promotions, and to analyze the information collected by StayinFront Touch CG. So, it seems obvious that having got to the right store at the right time, we should focus on the most productive activities in that store. But how consistently does that happen in the real world? In the field, if you can, track the right KPIs for your territory, see key media and documents during the call, even without being online, see the cycle priorities for the period, and know your high-impact stores at a glance, with planned calls on a dashboard, not a separate calendar. You will be equipped to focus the right activities at the right stores for maximum impact. And once you're in the store, indicators need to be at a store level to show how they are performing, so with store-specific reports on sales. All history for a store can show where improvements can be made. Key tasks for this visit that should not be missed should also be visible at a glance. It's all about using the information to be doing more in store. With a structured approach, improved effectiveness can be achieved consistently by all the field reps. So we recommend a similar approach to these steps. Good preparation, structured store audits and surveys, recording key actions and issues, noting all follow-ups and acting on them in the call for immediate impact. The effect of closing a call with all the important actions highlighted should never be underestimated. A good example of improved efficiency is integrated digital merchandising to capture shelf compliance as well as category market share information more quickly than manually. Reps take a photo of a layout and then move on to their next task. Meanwhile, the information takes a few minutes to process in the background, and then the audit form is completed. It's a fast and innovative way to have better and more accurate information on store conditions, about share of shelf, distribution, out of stocks, planogram compliance, and promotional material and pricing. Also, once the data is back, Touch CG can automatically create a task for other follow-up items. StayinFront Touch CG also gives field reps the capability to engage store managers in meaningful conversations. StayinFront PitchBook is a selling tool that equips reps with fact-based sales arguments that help them sell more. Here you can see PitchBook being used to develop a what-if scenario for an additional display or product placement. In this simple example, I'm using point-of-sale scan data at store level. The story is that by switching to better selling products in the display area, there could be a significant increase in sales. If the manager agrees, the rep simply ticks the checkbox and adds the products they'd like to promote. They can then quickly and easily simulate the projected sales. The power of PitchBook is that the store's own numbers do the selling.
So what are the benefits of closing the loop?
Let's have a look at how CPG companies like yours are benefiting from CACI and StayinFront.
With CACI delivering an efficient field sales team, you'll be calling on the right stores at the right time. And because CACI's applications are automatic and take away the need for your sales reps to plan their own routes, you'll see a reduction in planning time by as much as 70%. You'll reduce the time your field sales personnel spend driving, typically by as much as 25%, which will result in an immediate reduction in mileage and fuel costs and a reduction in CO2 emissions. You'll increase call rates by 10% and will be able to get more from your existing field sales team.
With StayinFront delivering an effective field sales team, you will get more done in each store visit to achieve more in-call, get more product on the shelf to gain additional space and increase conversion rates, and further increase distribution, get the best of your promotional spend, increasing compliance, avoiding late activations or out of stocks during promotions to maximize your trade spend. Focus on the productive actions by store based on the current cycle and store-specific data to prioritize your activities. Typically, we see great retail execution can get an uplift of 1 to 2% in total sales for big brands with lots of SKUs. We do have customers who do much more in their niche segments.
So being efficient and effective will result in an overall reduction in field force costs and ultimately an increase in sales and revenue. So what are the benefits of working with CACI and StayinFront? We deliver key efficiencies in the field and ensure effectiveness in store. We deliver proven, functionally rich technology to optimize your global field teams. We deliver insight and knowledge in field force optimization and retail execution. We are experts in our field. We provide out-of-the-box solutions, follow the same process, implement best practice, and can deploy quickly in any country. And our applications are complementary and will help you close the loop. So here you can see a snapshot of some of the clients that CACI and StayinFront are already working with to deliver efficient and effective sales teams. I'm sure you will all recognise them and their leading global brands.
And this is where we currently work globally. CACI and StayinFront are delivering solutions across 6 continents, and the number of countries is growing fast.
You may have seen a link to a press release included in our original webinar invitation, which highlights how CACI and StayinFront are currently working together to help Mondelez close the loop. Mondelez said that integrating CACI and StayinFront's applications gives their sales reps more essential information on the go. Using powerful, cutting-edge data systems to improve sales is an important strategy for Mondelez, which CACI and StayinFront are delivering.
So, that's the end of the webinar. If you have any questions or would like to arrange a demonstration, please contact either Lee or myself using the numbers or email addresses on the screen or via LinkedIn.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found the webinar informative and look forward to hearing from you in the near future.